It's the Laugh Smartly Show, because apparently you needed us. Here's Biff, Lucky, and Mr. Fun.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Laugh Smartly on WGMD's 98.5, the Talk of Delmarva. Here we are, another week. Also, we're going to get to it, Masters Week, which is a big day in the sporting world, or a big week, I guess you'd say.
Is that golf?
World.
Is that golf?
Like you, yes. Yes, it is, Mr. Fun.
Check.
What's the World Series, Mr. Fun? We actually know what these sporting events are.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Talk of Delmarva. So if I come up to someone and I say, "Yeah, I'm the Talk of Delmarva," do I get to say that I'm part of the Talk of Delmarva?
Oh, well, yeah, you're a member of the Talk of Delmarva team.
I'm the Talk of Delmarva.
You are the Talk of Delmarva. That's what we think.
I love it.
Every time we see you, we're going to say, you're the Talk of Delmarva. Lucky, that's what we're going to do. Lucky's wearing a Scotty swag. Good to see that. Mr. Fun went to the Scotty's factory in Frederick, Maryland this week. How was it? Did you see all the
I drove up to the Scotty's factory and saw where it was all made. I saw the distiller master, Scotty, and he's very generous to our fraternity.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And we are into the show, and we're proud to support him on that.
Yes.
We had a new intro, which I'm pleased to say, with Mrs. Fun, now doing the intros for the show with Rockfish in the background there. So thank you, Mrs. Fun, for that, and we will rotate different ones into it. So we don't have to listen to the entire song for 20 seconds while we sit there doing nothing. We are actually can jump right into the show. So again, thank you for doing that. But again, Rockfish, the official song with Chesapeake Time and the official band of Laugh
What's going to happen
Smartly.
if Mrs. Fun gets more famous than us?
We'll ride her coattails. We are not against riding coattails. I believe that's what we would do. Anything for a buck, right? That's what we would do. So, Mr. Fun, do you have a joke to start us off this week?
Well, speaking of Mrs. Fun getting famous, she came home the other day and she said, "Pack your bags, honey. I won the lottery." And I was like, "Should I pack for the beach or mountains or maybe Europe?" And she said, "I don't care. Just get the hell out of the house."
There's probably some truth into that comment, I'm sure, at this point. But it's a very good joke. Mrs. Fun, I know she loves you like she loves the rest of us, Mr. Fun. So, last week we had the Real Men host draft. Things that real men don't do. Now, I got some feedback from a couple folks here locally on the Delmarva. I'm not quite the Talk of Delmarva, but on the Delmarva. One of them that was added into it was real men would never order avocado toast. Agree, disagree on that?
I don't know a man who my daughters eat avocado toast.
Okay.
Mrs. Lucky eats avocado toast. I don't think I've ever seen a male order avocado toast.
Yeah.
I don't eat avocado anything. I think it's
Really?
mushy and yucky.
Really? It's one of the good
Guacamole?
fats. It's one of the good fats, Mr. Fun.
Wow. Yeah. There was a guy who he was a vegetarian who quit my job recently because he was looking for better celery. He wanted a better celery.
Nice. Very good. Very good.
Trying to say salary.
Now, so the philosophical question for the three of us is that Lucky this past week got a pedicure. Now, does a real man get a pedicure? Now, I'm asking Mr. Fun.
No.
Yeah.
A real man doesn't let anybody touch his toes. Doesn't let
It was
anybody.
medicinal.
It was okay. How's that?
It was like a procedure that needed to be done. I had like an inch worth of skin on my bottom of my foot. And my friends were making fun of me. So yeah, it was. I had to get it done.
Where was it?
What I had it on the bottom of my feet.
On the okay, got it. So it had nothing to do with your toes.
No, it was on like my heel and stuff like that.
It was like calluses and crap like that. Yeah, I just threw up a little bit.
Yeah. Wait, that's a pedicure. I thought it had to do with like cleaning your toes.
The whole foot, basically.
It's the whole foot.
Okay. Well, yeah, somebody could touch the back of my foot, my heel, the undercarriage there, but I don't want them touching my toes.
But again, going back to the question, do real men get pedicures?
Yes.
Manicures
might be pushing it, but pedicures, I think it's fine.
They do if they have to remove a hoof, like Lucky. He had like a hoof under his foot.
Now, do they put like those little foam things between your toes at any point during the pedicure?
No, I did not get any kind of polish on my toenails.
Okay.
I did get some kind of wax treatment though, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
So
I heard a real story about a guy went through TSA and they stopped him because they thought he had brass knuckles in his bag, and they were like, "What are these?" And they unzipped it, and it was the thing that separates your toes when you get a pedicure. They thought they were brass knuckles.
There was also some other feedback from last week's show. And Rob G had an intervention with Mr. Fun this week.
Yeah.
Mr. Fun was talking about he never goes to the dentist. They had to have like a sit down.
I said I haven't been to the dentist for a while.
Right.
And he yelled at me. In fact, he said, I think of, what did he say? Low income people. When I think of people who don't go to the dentist.
Also, Robert P., one of our super fans, he clarified a few questions around it was National Jeep Week or something like that. And then we were talking about the wave and the duck. So the duck thing started during the pandemic with, I think you said that, right, up in Canada. And the wave actually started in World War II when soldiers used to wave to each other as they were driving by Jeeps.
Oh, okay. Well, here's a trivia question for Mr. Fun, the lone subscriber of World War II magazine.
Yes.
How did Jeep get its name?
Oh, it does stand for something, and I think they added another E. So the J it's JEP. It's
general purpose vehicle.
Purpose.
Then they could Jeep. So I guess they made it sound GP. General, they went Jeep, and that's where it came from, general purpose vehicle.
There's a documentary on that's fun to watch because they had what they wanted the vehicle to be able to do. And lots of manufacturers created vehicles. None of them look like the Jeep. And it was, and some of the other ones were pretty cool looking too.
Yeah. So this past week, I actually went on a tour with Mrs. Biff and new dog Murphy. We went south. We went to Charlotte, to visit our daughter. We then went to Augusta, Georgia for the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which is a tournament they've put on for 7 years now, I think, on the site of where the Masters is playing this week, which was really cool. And we're going to come back to the Masters in a little bit. But one of the things I noticed, and then when we went to Charleston, South Carolina, is that when you're driving in particularly North Carolina and South Carolina, the billboards, there's a lot of billboards on the highway. I don't think in Maryland you can have a billboard on an interstate, for example. Right. I don't think there are any. On Delaware, there are. But the fact of the matter is that when you look at the billboards, I kid you not, 75% of them have to be for lawyers. I've never seen so many legal billboards. It's like, if you were in a truck wreck, call this guy. If you were in a car accident, do the amount of personal injury lawyer billboards was crazy. Did you notice? I know, Lucky, you went to Charlottesville recently. Did you notice that anywhere in Virginia?
Yeah, I did not see. I don't see those lawyer attorney billboards. I mean, I see things for, restaurants and cool, little museums along the way, or sightseeing things or whatever.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, in North Carolina and South Carolina, it's inundated with legal billboards. The other one, which is cool, which I think you guys have both done. Every time I drive through the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, I'm amazed at the fact that you're basically spanning a section of the ocean, right? And that you've just got this bridge, and it's where it gets to you if you've got a problem driving over large bodies of water is when you're between the two tunnels. You realize you're really in the middle of what is the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay. Is that it's incredible to me that they could figure out how to build something like that. I know it's not the only one in the world, but it's a really impressive engineering feat to span that 17 or 18 miles, whatever it is.
Do you have any idea?
How old?
Yeah.
I'd be guessing. I could look it up here in a second. Probably in the 60s is my guess when it was built. But it's impressive. It really is impressive. I don't think the bay is particularly deep in a lot of the sections there. That's the way they could build it. But wow, it's something. Especially when I drove over a month ago and it was foggy and you couldn't even see the water. That was really, really weird. But it's really cool.
That bridge is past the test of time, but the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, the one that connects Annapolis basically to the Eastern Shore, that thing is obsolete. Like it is, they're every summer they have issues, people coming over it, coming back,
and we talked about the ridiculousness of the budget and how long it's going to take to get it started. They've gotten it approved 6 years before they can break ground so they can do an environmental impact on a bridge that already exists. I just don't get it. And it's going to be way over budget, I'm sure, when all is said and done on that. So, Lucky, what's going on this week besides things like that?
Things like that. Okay. So, Mr. Fun, I just want to let you know, it's a reminder for you. Biff, I think, already knows this. It is National Pet Day this weekend. So make sure you get Reggie and Judge, your two dogs, something for National Pet Day, please. Okay.
Oh, here, I've got an impromptu one. We're going to come back to Would You Rather at the very end of the show. But here's one. Would you rather be Mr. Fun's dog or Mr. Fun's cat?
Ooh.
Which would you rather
dogs get a lot
be?
of attention from Mrs. Fun.
Okay.
So did the cat.
So what would you rather be? Now, he jokingly talked about teaching his cat to run across the Beltway not too long ago. But I think that was just obviously being funny. But what would you rather be? I think I would rather be Mr. Fun's cat.
He's flying under the radar a little bit. The dogs are just out there a lot.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I think the cats are less agitating than Mr. Fun. Is that a correct statement?
I honestly, I was joking around about the cat because I taught him to cross the Beltway, but that was when he was younger and faster. It was really not funny when he slowed down a little bit. That's when it was no longer a joke.
So good. Anyways.
All right. So National Pet Day. Make sure you take care of your dogs and cats. And
all right.
Okay. So it's National Submarine Day too. And of course, when I saw this, I'm like, okay, sub sandwiches, which we'll talk a little bit in a second. But National Submarine Day commemorates the commissioning of the U.S. Navy's first modern submarine, the USS Holland, in 1900, which is pretty crazy.
All right. I looked this up because I said, it's not the Holland. It's not the Holland. And there's a word in there that is modern submarine because the first submarine was the Huntley. And it was a Confederate sub during the Civil War that is the first to successfully sink a Union ship. And it was a little different. It was 40 feet long, made of iron. And it had like a screw. It either had this long spear-like thing with an explosive on it, or it had this screw, and you'd go up to the wooden ships and you'd screw a hole in it, and it would sink. That was the Hunter.
So how do they power it?
With if I'm not mistaken, like a bicycle.
A paddle
wheel.
You
rode it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the modern would probably be two things, right? It has an engine of some sort and also has a way to generate oxygen and get rid of the CO2. That must be the difference between the two. I can't imagine the one in the Civil War was underwater very long.
Well, it also looked like a turtle. Like you could see it from the surface. Yeah.
Now, what were the Monitor and the Merrimack? They were just the first iron-hold
ironclad.
Ironclad.
Ships. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Well, the more important submarines, at least for our perspective, which we actually deal with more often, are the subs. So I went through. Okay, so what are your guys' like ideal must-haves in your sub sandwiches? Like for me, it's like the bread. The meat can be a little bit less. The veggies can be okay, but if the bread is not good, the sub is an automatic. Definitely falls down the rating.
I'd say that's true. I also, as I've gotten older, because I definitely didn't do this when I was younger, I like to have a sub that has like the spicy pepper relish, right?
Yep.
Oil, vinegar, salt, pepper, onions, things that have. They're obviously. I will grant you that's like an Italian sub, but those add flavor to me. I think that's what
I was just going to add. It cannot be dry. It can't be dry. Like that's the most disappointing sub for me if it's dry.
Yeah.
My favorite sub place changed to a sex shop, and I learned that when I went in and ordered a 12-inch Italian.
What is your favorite what about in the Delmarva area?
I made it up. I know. You know what? There is a Bace. I think it's called Bace. It's great. It's a little. It's to go. There's no tables or anything, and it's amazing.
What about you at the beach? What's your go-to?
You know what? I'm still looking. I am still looking. So what's your favorite?
You need to come to Ocean City. Here are my favorites: Primo Hoagie's, which is near where I stay at the beach. Anthony's, which is another great sub place. This place went viral on social media. I think it was last year. Seaside Deli, like an old school. They have beer and wine there too. Jim M is a big fan of the cheesesteaks at OC Uptown Eats. So those are places. Biff, you got one? You got anything you like?
Yeah. So there's if I just think about near me, Casapola's. Al Casapola's is a very good sub shop. I think there's a few of them.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's very good. DeFebo's Market. DeFebo's is a big family. Related to DeFebo's restaurant. There's one in Rehoboth, one in Bethany. They have a very good chicken parm and a meatball sub. Not on a stick, unlike what
I was going to say. You can put that on a stick.
There is also I know Armand's is a franchise, but there's actually one in the Sea Colony Shopping Center that makes a pretty good Italian sub. I will say that. Now, these aren't going to, if you're using our scale of 3, 2, 1, from our donut rating, I'd say that DeFebo's is in the 3 range. Casapola is probably 2 to 3. Armand's probably a 2 sort of deal. So they're good, very serviceable subs, but it's not there's nothing like I've had Primos in Ocean City, which is quite good. So I know there's a lot of great sub shops out there.
I think it's really hard because when you compare like a cheesesteak to an Italian sub to turkey or tuna sub, they're really different. They're really different.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Do you ever make a sub for yourself at home versus buy it?
No.
Yeah, isn't that weird? You make sandwiches at home.
Yeah, I think because a sub has a role that is specific to that item, right? A loaf of bread is a loaf of bread. You can make a grilled cheese, you can make French toast, you can make something else with it. I think you're just limited. You're purpose buying a sub roll at that point. Now that you couldn't do it for friends and stuff like that. So just a quick one before we move off the topic. Mr. Fun, are they called submarines in North Jersey? Or are they called hoagies? What did you call
them? No, you get a sub.
You get a sub.
You don't call it a submarine. But I've gotten heroes. You don't get a grinder, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a sub. You get a sub or a hero.
That's Biff's favorite website.
Yeah, Grindr.
What's that?
Grindr. Yeah.
Oh.
Low-hanging fruit.
And he's in the subsection. He likes to be a sub on Grindr.
All right. Here's some of the other national days. So it's actually, this is a weird one. National Big Wind Day. Okay. National Big Wind Day. And
Big Wind. W-I-N-D is what you're saying.
W-I-N-D honors the strongest natural wind gusts ever recorded on Earth in 1934 in New Hampshire.
Yeah, Mount Washington. Windiest place on Earth, I think.
I'm a big fan of Big Wind Day. I'm a big fan.
Very good.
Well, okay. So there was an article published in the Washington Post in the last week or so, and it was basically the article is talking about, do men or women have worse farts? So we're talking about wind. Here we go. What do women or men have the stinkiest farts? Just I'll give you guys a little bit of background on some of the analysis and the science behind it.
Okay.
But what's your take before I even get into the analysis?
It's rare to catch a woman's fart. I'm not sure they're blaming it on the dog or they're blaming it on the cat, but I can probably count on my right hand in 30 years of marriage how many I would attribute to the other half of the household. Okay. Now, men proudly fart a lot, so we have a quantity thing over quality. But I will, of those limited times, the other half is one. It's pretty bad. But
I was going to guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to guess women because they only fart annually. So there's so much there,
Okay. So there is a gastroenterologist.
Okay.
Dr. Michael Levitt, who solved this. Okay. And he figured out who had the worst farts, men or women. So the dude he works for the Minneapolis Veterans Affairs Hospital. He's been there since 1978. He's the king of farts, as he's known as. Okay. He is so distinguished that he was given an award for his work that he did with NASA, developing spacesuits that filtered out so that the astronauts did not have to inhale their own farts during a spacewalk. That's how sophisticated this guy is.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. But he introduced this new lab experiment using this apparatus called a chromatograph. Okay. And the tool can be used to analyze gas content. Okay. So he did this big study, and what he did was, this is how he figured it out. So there were a subset of men, subset of women, and there was a rectal tube that was inserted and there was a gas tight seal on their butts. Okay. And the tube was connected to a gas bag. And they asked all the men and women to fart, and the contents were evaluated so they went into these bags. Okay. The bags were then sniffed and rated by 2 independent judges on a linear scale where 0 was no odor and 8 was very offensive. Okay. And so that's how this
great job. Great job. Great job.
Yeah. Can you, in 2003, Popular Science magazine ranked this job as the worst job that anybody would ever had. But here's what they found. They found that compared to men, farts of women had a much greater odor intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Men produce a larger volume of gas. Biff, you basically had that. Roughly half a cup's worth at a time.
Ugh.
Half a cup's worth of gas comes out of a man's butt. Okay. So, but again, the perceived differences, between men and women, because women, you don't hear them, but the theory is they're better at perfecting slow and steady releases. Okay.
I actually got thrown out. I got thrown out of court for farting. Yeah, the judge yelled odor in the court. Odor.
There you go.
Hey, this is true though. This is true. I noticed that a lot of things changed in my life when I turned 50. And one of them is I don't particularly like the smell of my own farts anymore.
Oh, I love the smell of my own.
Oh,
I knew you do.
Stop.
I knew you would.
Jeez.
Why don't you like your own?
I'm like, ooh, that's bad. I don't like
because you're in a public place.
No, mostly I'm in private. I don't like to fart in public, but sometimes I'm sitting on the couch and I go, "Woo, that was bad. I hope nobody smells that one."
Oh,
yeah, and I was never like that. I was always very proud.
Yeah. I don't have any issue with farting. I mean, and again, I don't want people to have to I don't want to crop dust them kind of thing. But
you're not doing a Dutch oven.
No,
with Mrs. Lucky.
You and your family have farting contests, right? Like you'll have a fart night Friday.
Yep.
You'll have
oh gosh.
Anyway, but women win for the stinkiest. Okay, so we would all agree that farting is good for you. It's healthy. All right. So I talked to, I think last week I brought up about some these health screening things. There was this company called Superpower we talked about with the with the different kinds of things that can address wellness challenges or wellness issues, etc. So there's another this new health screening tool out. It's a company called Grail. I'd highly encourage everybody to look at it. So there's a company called Gallery. It's spelled Galleri. And they have a test called Grail, and it's a blood testing cancer detection test. It's basically a simple blood test, and it screens for 50 cancers. It's relatively expensive. It's normally about $950. And basically, this company will have someone come to your house, draw your blood, and in about a week, they come back and give you basically your status on these 50 cancers. Now, the interesting thing is there's a couple different debates going on with tests like this. Number one, they're super expensive, so only like people with money can afford them. But number two, they're not really ready for prime time, but they're close. So like a lot of the testing, wasn't like completely accurate. Like they did a test in October, 23,000 people, and it missed a bunch of cases, and it like misdiagnosed misdiagnose a bunch of people. So, but the FDA is in the process of approving multi-cancer early detection tests. They call them MCEDs, and this is one of them. And so, we're talking about it now. But I bet you in a couple of years, these kind of things are going to be super, super popular. I don't know. Like, would you guys want to know? Like, would you guys take a test like that if you were feeling healthy?
I think you take it if you have maybe not family history, but if you have a overall general worry about health. I guess in some respects more is better, but there are unintended consequences, I suppose, that if it's to your point, their testing regimen isn't foolproof. If you get a bad positive read, and that then you've got a problem. Then it might change your world around.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a bit of the wild card as it relates to it.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you if there was a test for like Alzheimer's, like they could tell you if you're going to eventually get it or not, which they don't really have a cure for these days. Would you take that? Would you want to know?
Maybe, because it would explain a few things of why I keep forgetting things.
why he can't make the show recording on time. Yeah, I don't know. What about you? Answer your own question, Buck.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think I would want to know the uncurable, right? Like if there was cures for cancer or like the high probability of if you caught them early.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, Alzheimer's, I don't think I'd want to know that because they haven't been able to get anywhere near solving that one. Right. But cancers, I might want to know.
Yeah.
It
does remind go ahead, Rob. Do you
know what I read? I read that too much sex can lead to memory loss. I remember reading that on January 20th at 8:30 p.m. in the Journal of Mental Health, paragraph 7, page 4.
It does remind me when you were describing the company. This is the Theranos debacle, right? Yeah. This was Elizabeth, forget her last name, where they were trying to do everything off a drop of blood, right? That was the whole thing, and they hooked in CVS or Walgreens and one of the larger chains and all these, major political leaders, and it was a house of cards.
And right? They sold those machines that really couldn't.
And you're saying that they haven't perfected the testing here, while USDA is doing something, or FDA, is doing the work with them. It just sounds like almost too good to be true, because you can get those individual tests today, right? You can test for everything presumably they're going to test for. So I don't know. It just sounds a little.
Yeah, one of the tests that's super accurate is that Cologuard for colon cancer.
Right.
And there's a lot of advertising for that. So that one seems to be, again, ready for prime time. But I want to bring these things up, these peptides and tests like this, because I think we're at a cusp of like a big, milestones of like turning the corner on some of these really big health screening kinds of things, these wellness kinds of things, So we're talking about it now. 3 years from now, we're going to be like,
I think one of the things, though, over you raising each of the last 3 shows is the fact that things that you would normally have called homeopathic in the past, right, which are non-prescription based things, are becoming more important, right? And I think that is good. That's been a good recent change. Whether, you can argue why that is, but the reality is that there's a lot of things that are good for you that you used to kind of discount because it wasn't prescribed by a doctor. And I'm not sure that's true anymore. Yeah. So I think that's good.
Yeah. All right. In another science thing, we talked about this last week, but Artemis II splashdown, so back on Earth, which is great. What's interesting? So a big milestone, this Artemis, we talked about what's forecasted between now and 2030 in terms of this program. They want to have a habitat on Earth. Talked about that last week. But this weekend, there's all kinds of other space milestone anniversaries, like Space Shuttle first launch in 1981, Apollo 13 launch in 1970, et cetera. So it's sort of cool that, like, I mean, I see this as a big milestone.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. It will come back to me in this for those on the radio show that have never heard me talk about this. I am in the conspiracy camp on the moon landing. I just don't, as much technology has taken them just a slingshot around the moon, 4,000 miles from the surface of the moon, and how technically challenging it is to do that. I just don't see how there's any way that anybody landed on the moon in 1969. I just don't get it. I understand there's hundreds of thousands of people that were involved with the program. It just strikes me that, back then, it's like the joke is like your Apple phone has more computing power than the space module did, or the lunar module did back in 1968. You're telling me that thing got onto the moon?
Yeah.
I just don't buy it. Again, you just watch the technology that's gone in just this flyby, which is, they lost signal, right? They lost signal when it went around on the backside of the moon.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, in 1969, what are they going to, hook the wire back up? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Am I out there? You guys, am I persuading you that there's reasons to be skeptical about the moon landing?
What do you think, Mr. Fun?
I don't know. I was thankful that they had a woman who could co-pilot, because she could tell the pilot how to drive, which direction to take, pay attention, all that kind of stuff.
That's good.
It's very helpful.
So I have a couple friends that are conspiracy theorists that think the same thing, Biff, that they think the moon, there was never a moon landing. It was all made up, made for TV. And I thought they were kooks. But as we've advanced, there are these questions, or, as time has gone on, and, you got this as an example. But the question is, okay, since 1969, we haven't been able to land anybody on the moon. Right. And now it's like we got to spend $1 gajillion, and, it seems like it's so complex to get somebody there. Like,
I have a question, and I think I think somebody told me the answer, but, does the moon rotate? Like, they said that we're going to see a side of the moon that we've never seen before. Is that true? Like, we've never seen the dark side of the moon?
They went on the other side. They the Artemis II, that just went
Right.
was the farthest that humans have ever gone. And that was on the backside of the moon.
Right. So the moon, the side of the moon, the Earth rotates, and the side of the moon that we see is always the same side. It doesn't rotate.
That's a good guy. My suspicion is it doesn't rotate. I cannot believe we are exposing our astronomic ignorance here.
Fifth grade science for a while. You know what I mean? Where they told you where like the Earth revolves around the sun and the moon
Yeah.
right?
If we've never seen that side of the moon, it means it doesn't rotate, right?
Yeah, it's a fixed position. No, it's not in a fixed position, right? Because it changes. It rotates at a different point on the Earth, because the Earth is spinning faster. The moon is more fixed, right? Because that's why we get a dark side, or we get a crescent moon versus a full moon versus whatever, because the Earth
it's
is
always
getting in the
dark.
way.
Wait, how is it dark?
On the
Isn't
back?
it closer? Is it closer to the sun?
The back? No, because
there's always a side of the moon
the sun
that's
faces,
not facing the Earth. I mean, facing the sun.
Right.
You can pretend you know what you're telling me.
Yeah.
You can say it with as much authority as you want.
Well, I know one thing. The toilets, they had an issue with the Artemis toilets. They got to work on that. They had an issue.
Oh, well, that's, again, going back to, now we've gone completely off track by Mr. Fun's very good question. But the fact is that they can't get the toilet working in 2026. They sure as hell couldn't get the toilet working in 1969 when they were landing it on the moon. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. So,
all right. Well, we need contact at, feedback at laughsmartly.com. Send us some, because somebody explain the what your theories are on this, on the 1969 original moon landing and versus today. But Anyway, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing other milestones in the Artemis program. That, again, super cool. Okay, the other thing, we didn't talk about this, but Apple turned 50 about a week or so ago. We didn't talk about it last week. So,
No.
But I was just thinking how big of a deal that Apple is in our lives now. Like, that company really changed basically so many things about our lives, like how we use personal computers, reinvented the music, consumption with the iPod, smartphones, of course, with the iPhone, the whole app store. Like, there's some really big monumental things that they've introduced over the last 50 years, so, which is really cool.
I'm sorry. I'm just going back because I looked it up. Yes, the same face of the moon is always visible from Earth because it is tidally, Tidally locked, meaning it rotates on its axis at the same speed it orbits Earth. So it's basically the same view.
Oh, so it does rotate.
But it just does it at the same speed. So there we go.
Good to know.
Okay, wait. And is the dark side of the moon closer to the sun?
The side we see is the near side, while the hidden side is the far side. I can't get to that point, Mr. Fun. We're going to get back to the Apple question, and I'll get back to it.
I saw an Apple store get robbed, and I was an eyewitness.
Eyewitness, that's good.
Yes.
Now, let me ask this. Before you just speak from your personal experience, before the iPod was invented, did you have any Apple products?
My first Apple product was the iPod.
The iPod. So when you say it, and I agree with you, it's an important company in the standpoint of it has changed the way we consume music, or it had at one point in time. It changed phones to smartphones, right? And it's actually changed the camera. That's
another big one too. Yeah,
right. That's what the biggest impact for Apple has been for us non-creative types. Because you would argue the creative types always had the Mac, right? They had the computer, but it never has had the popularity of the PC. It just never has. So we're talking about those that are of those inventions, as I just ticked off. Unless you're thinking of something else, is that really that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So look, I think it's been huge. I mean, if I think about the thousands and thousands of dollars we have spent on Apple products, right? Because they become obsolete over time. They've designed obsolescence into it.
Yeah. Well, but there are always one of the most innovative companies. So these are the things that are in, these are their home runs now: the iPhone, Macintosh, iPod, Apple Watch. We didn't talk about. AirPods is another big one. How they've changed the wireless, listening devices that you put in your ear. And they're always coming out with new things, but they've had a bunch of flops. Like, I don't know if you remember the iPhone Mini. That didn't work well. Apple Maps was not, didn't come out very well.
Is the Mini like this one? I use a Mini.
Biff, yeah, you have one of the smallest phones.
I have a small phone.
For your small hands. For your small hands.
Large intellect.
I just watched the Jobs movie, which is about, basically the founding of Apple, which is really cool. And then on the backside of it, I watched the documentary or the dramatization of the demise of the BlackBerry, which was really good. To watch both of those together is really cool.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I was going to bring that up yesterday. No lie. Yesterday, I met a guy. He said, "You look familiar." And we figured out that he was the BlackBerry salesman who sold me my first BlackBerry 30 years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the BlackBerry, if I remember from the movie, so they had a couple things going for them. One, they had a keypad, right? They were very encrypted, if I remember correctly. So they, from a security standpoint, the government liked it a lot. But what they didn't go to was the screen where you could punch. Right, the haptic screen, like you can on an iPhone.
They tried that, but what they did was they decided to not manufacture it in North America. They outsourced it to China. When it came back, those touchpad phones did not work, and that was when Apple moved in with the iPhone.
I remember it was such a status symbol to get a BlackBerry. I mean, you can say that same thing, but yeah, probably more so, I'd argue, in some respects, than an iPhone, because it just, you were more efficient at work because you had a BlackBerry, right? You were more important.
I recall breaking up with my BlackBerry. It was like getting a divorce. Like for me to go to any other product, I was really reluctant. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's funny, like we talk about how everybody's addicted to their iPhones now. They talked about the BlackBerry being the crackberry and being, but the addiction didn't seem as severe then as it is now.
Yeah. I think that why that came around though was the fact that for the first time you would be in your personal space, whether it's dinner or whatever, checking your email, right? Yeah. That's what it was. And you couldn't miss a message because of it.
And the tick.
Yeah. That was the psychology of it. That was really cool. So that's great.
Anyway, but 50 years from now, we'll see what Apple has. They seem to be killing it with more innovation. So more power to them. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the show, but this is Masters weekend, which is really cool. If you're a golf fan, it's like the Super Bowl at the beginning of the golf season, which is really cool. The first major. They say that the Masters is the hardest ticket in sports to get. Do you agree with that, Biff?
I would think so. Because it's unlike a season ticket for a football game where there are 8 or 10 games or whatever they might be at home. There's only 4 days of the Masters. They call them patrons, but they are in some respects the original ticket holders, so they stay within their family, right? And therefore, if you are going to sell it, you have to sell it. You get an exorbitant amount of money. I think the price I saw was $20 for a 4-day pass. It was like $20,000 or something for this week for one 4-day pass. Now, part of that comes with a security deposit. There's a lot of stuff, because if that person gets kicked out with that pass, you never get the pass back.
Yeah, and they have rules too. They have this crazy lottery to get tickets that we all participate in every year. Biff, you can tell.
And my daughter has won twice some form of the lottery, which is really cool.
But they have a bunch of rules about reselling the tickets, and that's like one of the cool traditions too, because they try to minimize commercialization, even though it's the Super Bowl of golf. Right? Like they have these cool traditions of like the food is cheap, the broadcast, they don't have a lot of commercials on CBS. But they are really vigilant on reselling of the tickets, although it happens, but because there are so few of them, I think that's why they're so expensive.
So the irony is that they are against commercialization, but when you talk about their merchandise, that's where they are killing it, right? You go there, you buy it. So when we were walking in, we went this week, we had 4 tickets to what is one of the leading up tournaments, which is this women's amateur tournament. But the stores are open, or the 2 shops are open like any of the rest of the tournament days. And we're walking in and people are walking out with bags of stuff. And the big thing to get from there are these gnomes. They're these golf gnomes. Yeah. They're around 12 inches high or whatever they are. And you'd see people walking out with 5 of them. Like, what are you going to do with 5 gnomes besides they're going to resell them?
Resell them,
right?
Yeah.
And they probably paid, we found out the small gnome was $30. The big one had to be $70 or $80, whatever it were. But everything in that store, the average ticket coming out of that store must be $800 to $1,000 a person.
Yeah.
And everybody's going there. We waited 30 minutes to get in. And it's incredible. But to their credit, service is unbelievable there. The facility, the nicest facility. The food prices are insanely cheap, right? Pimento cheese sandwich is $1.50. I think a chicken sandwich is like $2 or $2.50 or something like that. A Coke's $1.50. Everything's in that kind of range, and a beer is $5 or $6. But there's a decorum too, which I forget about this. You're not allowed to run when you're on Augusta National, so you can get your chair set down and you can leave it there as like you're around the green. If you're not there, somebody else can sit in it until you come back, but you leave it there. But to get that chair to that spot, and say it's 2,000 yards away from the gate, you got a fast walk to get there. You can't run there. And so it's those sorts of things. No phones. We've talked about that previously, which is actually sort of liberating. The big bummer about no phones is there's no photos.
Yeah.
So you can't do it during the tournament days. Can't take a picture of anything, so it's sort of odd.
One of my favorite traditions of the Masters is that the champion from the year before gets to devise the dinner menu. So all the former Masters champions come for a dinner, and so Rory McIlroy won last year, and his menu this year was one of the more expensive in history. It's like $318 per person.
Yeah.
So, which I thought was cool.
When I play golf, I'm a lot like the Ayatollah. I can't get out of the bunker. I can't get out of it.
Very good.
All right, Biff. I'm going to turn it over to you for your provocative question.
Yeah, so sort of related. So we drove down to Augusta from the Delmarva, and you spent a lot of time on the highways, which got me thinking. And by the way, you spent a lot of time in traffic. There's a lot of traffic jams in the southeastern U.S. A lot of people have moved down there. It's spring break time of the year. You spend in more traffic than you want to. The would you rather is a traffic related one. Would you rather fix your maximum speed that you can drive for the rest of your life at 40 miles per hour, but never sit in a traffic jam again? Or would you rather be able to drive at whatever speed you want, but still be subject to traffic jams?
Like today.
Like normal. Like what would you rather do? Mr. Fun, you're giving this some thought.
No, it's my dream come true that does everybody have to drive at 40 or just me? Just you. But you don't ever have to sit in a traffic jam, however that would physically be possible. My Mrs. Fun yells at me all the time. She's like, why are you driving so slow? Again, I turned 50. I became an old man. Yeah. I could drive at 40 my entire life and be happy. And it would make her happy because I've never seen a person get so crazy in traffic. She's not driving. I'm driving and she's yelling about the traffic. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Lucky?
I'd keep it the way it is. The 40 miles an hour thing, it would be nice to not be in traffic around like the metro areas. But if you go on long run drives to the beach, and if you had to go 40 miles an hour, things are going to take a lot longer to get there.
But there's those. I got caught in traffic. I drove from Florida a month or so ago. You sit in traffic for an hour. You're like, there is diminishing returns. 40 might be a little low for me. If it was 50, I'd probably do it all day long. I will admit that. But I think there's something to it. That's ultimately the dream of autonomous vehicles. Is everything talks to each other. They're all going the same speed. They're talking to the street lamps and the traffic lights and the roadworks and stuff like that. So who knows? So it's a good thought. People can let us know at contact@laughsmartly.com. Feedback or contact?
I thought it was feedback.
Well, we have both email addresses. Whatever it is, you can get us at.
Do you guys know that the average male ejaculates at almost 30 miles an hour, which is why you never want to do it in a school zone?
Oh my gosh!
Sorry,
that is to say that's wrong on so many levels. That is wrong. So, anyways, everybody knows where to find us. You can find us on YouTube if you're watching this. Obviously, if you're listening to us, you can find us on YouTube as well. If you're watching us, you can listen to us on all the podcast platforms. We hope we are being listened to on WGMD 98.5, the Talk of Delmarva, 10 p.m. on Saturday and 3 p.m. on Sunday. So good to see you guys. Good to have everybody out there listening to us or watching us. Until we do it again next week, let me just say goodbye.
Laugh Smartly is a production of Laugh Smartly Industries. Please subscribe, like, and share wherever you listen and watch us. And we'd love to hear from you, so email us at contact@laughsmartly.com. Thank you again for listening.